I guess just to start, how has this week gone, and is there anything that stood out to you in particular?
I think it's been a great week. I think, I told the team today, I think the 8 days of acclimation into the 4-day ramp up, I think it's actually been a great schedule. I think it's allowed us to stay pretty healthy, build up to where we have the guys today, and then obviously getting out there today in helmets, shells, competing a little bit against each other. I'll take tomorrow off and then go back Sunday. So I've been really pleased. I think, the guys have had the right attitude. We practiced hard, and it's looked good to me.
Coach, after a couple, I guess, only one helmet and padded practice, or a couple of them, what's the difference in intensity that you see from once the helmets and shells go on versus backwards caps and shorts?
It's a great question. I mean, you see a lot of guys who, you stand out there today, they go full speed. You see what you saw on tape, right? You see like the explosiveness, the competitiveness. It's just so fast in a good way. So I think that's the best part that I've seen, was just the willingness of the guys to get out there and really compete against each other, work against each other. You see it up front on the O-line, D-line. It's not live contact, but it's fast. And I think the guys did a really nice job in the walkthroughs, as you said, kind of learning the details, really working on, their craft, but getting out there now, it's fun to see them go full speed.
Hey, Matt, David Newton, may be too early to tell, but have you seen anybody out there that maybe surprised you early on, that did some things you didn't know they could do maybe?
I don't know that I could say that yet. I think everybody's there for a reason. Everybody's done a nice job. And like a lot of this is, what you do with the helmets and shells is one thing. What you do when you put the pads on will be a completely different beast. And so, I'll say this: there's no one I'm disappointed in. I think everyone's doing a really nice job, working really hard. It just comes down to, hey, what's it going to look like when we put the pads on and really start playing?
Matt, what has the adjustment period looked like for the rookies so far, and have any of them stood out to you?
I've been really pleased with the rookies. I think they've done a really nice job of, kind of grinding. We brought them in early. They grinded at their own pace, and they mixed right in with the veterans. I think obviously the first three guys that we drafted, Derek Brown, Gross Matos, and Chin, they've stepped right in and done a really nice job. But then look at the other guys that we brought in. They're all working at a really nice level. They look like guys that can help our team. And I think from the undrafted guys, Sam Tecklenburg, who played for me at Baylor's, done a really nice job. Omar Bayless and many more. So I think there's a lot of guys there that in this unique year with 16 guys on the practice squad that are going to find roles for us on the active roster or on the practice squad as well. So I think our coaches are doing a nice job of coaching everyone, and the vets have done a great job of really kind of putting their arm around those guys' shoulders, and saying, hey, this is how we do things.
Matt, what difference do you think that it's made that Teddy Bridgewater knew the offensive system coming in? That, if you had a quarterback that didn't know the system, what difference do you think that's made?
Well, I think obviously it's great that Teddy knew the system. Joe's made a lot of changes to it, so I think, Teddy's had to learn a lot of new things. But, you look at Will Greer and you look at P.J. Walker, I mean, they didn't know it, and they've done a fantastic job of learning it along the way. So I think really all three guys, that's a really healthy room for us. And so Teddy obviously having some knowledge there helps, but I think our other guys are doing a really good job as well.
Hey, Matt, you mentioned Omar Bayless as someone who's done quite well, and that was someone that Jeremy Chin also highlighted when he spoke to us the other day. Could you talk a little bit about what Omar has done, does so well, and how he fits into what you want to do offensively?
Well, I mean, he's learning the system. He's a big, powerful guy. He's got a great catch radius. But the most important thing, he's just really coachable. He works hard. He attacks the ball, doing a nice job on special teams. He's a young player. He's growing. He's developing. He's learning his role. But he's someone that you want to work with. You can see, like, hey, this guy really can do some things that can help us. We're making a commitment to special teams. We believe that we can, tilt the field in our favor. We believe we can steal some possessions. And having big, strong, physical athletes that want to do it really helps.
Matt, with the rookies, I think it was a few veterans this week. I think it was Stephen Weatherly and Tahir Whitehead mentioned how that they're kind of jealous in a way of that slow ramp up. Have you noticed that at all with the rookies? How has it been being able to teach them at a slower pace, kind of getting them to know the system more?
Yes, and to a degree, yes. They missed the OTAs, so that was really probably hard on them. I think I have to give our coaches a lot of credit. They did a great job with all the virtual work. That really got us to where we are right now. But I've really liked this. I'll be honest with you. I've really liked them coming in and having time just to lift and just to run and just to sit in meetings and then go walk through and slow it down so that when we speed it up now, there's still a ton of mistakes, but they've had a chance to go through this. They're not overwhelmed. And I like it for our veteran players too. They've all had different situations. So I feel very comfortable with the setup. I think it's been a great schedule for us.
Coach, how much of this does it feel like? It's something that Tahir said yesterday is, for these guys, as much as it is about adjusting to the NFL, it's not their first year playing football. They know the game. Does it feel like you just get back to fundamentals for everyone throughout this process?
Well, we're unique in that all the players don't really know the way that we do things. So there's a teaching component. And then the great thing about NFL players is they usually go out and pick things up really quickly. And, we have a lot of detail. We want guys who play hard and play with detail. But I also want it to be like, Pop Warner football. I want you to go out there and play because you love it. You play fast, clear-minded. So there's all this detail, all this work that goes in, but the point is eventually to get to the point where you're clear-minded, where you can just go play. And I think that our coaches have worked really hard at it, but I give a lot of credit to our players, man. They've done a great job of buying into, hey, how do we do this? How do we do that? And, today is a really important day for us, our first competitive practice. Now go back, watch the tape, and really be honest with ourselves. Take ownership of, I'm doing this well. I got to improve this. I think, when you see some of our better players, they do that really well. They take ownership of, this is what I have to fix next.
Matt, Jonathan Alexander, hope you're doing well.
Thank you.
We spoke to Tahir yesterday, who said when you were at Temple, you used to run routes. Basically, he was saying you're a competitive coach back then. Do you run routes in today's practice? But on a more serious note, what do you hope that having that high energy he mentioned does for this team?
Well, I believe that when we get on the practice field, that practice is everything, and that iron sharpens iron, and that we want to go fast. And there's a level of teaching and detail that you have to go through. Don't get me wrong, but I want us to play really fast. And sometimes football, coaches have a tendency to stand around and talk a lot, and guys aren't really engaged. We don't want that. So if that means, coaches are going to run conditioning with the players, coaches are going to run conditioning with the players. If that means coaches are going to be the scout team, coaches are going to be the scout team. I want practice to, I don't know if I'm going to say fun, but I want it to be competitive, because these guys are built on competition. That's why they are who they are and where they are. So a practice and a mindset built on competition, on going fast and flying around is really important to me.
Matt, on that, when you talk about playing fast, obviously it's about getting the play call in quickly as well. And there's the NFL speed is just completely different. Of course, you can try your best in practice, right, and preseason games, but the game is different itself. How are you guys going to simulate that, getting the plays in as quickly as possible? And then I have a follow-up question.
Joe's out there right now. He's got the mic. He's talking directly to Teddy. We have the play clocks out there, for the offense and defense, so that we kind of simulate, always like a game. We try to do a lot of game-like situations, but it's never really the game until you get to the game, as you know. I think for those of us coming from college football, Joe from LSU, Phil from Baylor, we're used to that game when plays come in every 15 seconds. It's constant tempo and the game's chaotic. Getting back to being in a huddle, it's kind of fun for me. It just feels like what I grew up with. So I think we'll be okay with it. I think the biggest thing that we can do right now is just try to create as many game-like situations as possible, so when we get to the games, we're prepared for them.
And then just a quick follow-up. I noticed that the guys the first week or two were wearing shirts or jerseys rather than actual jerseys, practice jerseys. It looks like they've put them on since, but what was the idea behind that?
Just we have a T-shirt for walkthrough, and when they go to work out, they wear whatever. But when we go to walkthrough, just a T-shirt with their number on it, so they don't have to put a T-shirt on and put another another jersey on top. It just to make it more comfortable. I think I took it. I watched Hard Knocks last year and saw the Raiders and said, "That's a great idea." So we took it to Baylor, and then we brought it here.
Hey, Matt, I know it's early working with Joe Brady, but is there anything that you've picked up learning from him that is different that you didn't expect from him, or anything that you've learned about him?
Best thing about Joe is that he's not one of those guys who hey, this is my way and the only way to do it. He's always thinking about the best way to do something. So he's always you know, what I want from coaches and from players is to go out to try to execute at practice, come back, say what works, what doesn't, you know, fix it, move on. If it doesn't work, change it. And that's what Joe's always doing. You know, he's obviously young, but he's got that. And so that will take you a long ways. And then I think he's got a great offensive staff working with him. And so, you know, he can trust his coaches, and he does trust his coaches to coach, which that's one of the biggest things I think is I want assistant coaches who are getting their players better. And I think we have a great offensive staff, and then Joe's leading that in a really high way.
Hey, Matt. David, again, I wanted to ask you, when you were rebuilding at Baylor, how much of a factor was speed at receiver, I guess Baylor and Temple, in that rebuild job, especially on offense?
Well, you know, Temple, we were a little more of a power team, but we had a bunch of great receivers. We had Robbie and Kirkwood who were here. We had Adonis Jennings who went on to play pro football. We got Dentel Brown. We had a bunch of pro receivers. I got to Baylor and it was a spread team, you know, and it was a track team. Our receivers and our corners could have, you know, they could have, you know, we had guys, this is true now, that would scrimmage on a Saturday afternoon and then leave and go over to track and win the 100-meter dash. I mean, we had many guys do that, or at least running it, and some guys win it. So, we were a track team, so we changed our entire offensive identity. You know, we brought in Coach Nixon. We went to more of a spread offense. Always had 3 receivers on the field, if not 4. And, you know, that was completely, you know, diametrically opposed to who I was at Temple. But to me, football's, you know, everyone makes it about X's and O's. It's about players. You know, players win games, and you got to put your players in good position. So we were really fast at Baylor. And coming here now, I think we have a really nice set of fast guys on the outside that make me feel very comfortable.
Matt, have you guys given any consideration to a voluntary bubble like we've seen some other teams trying to?
You know, I know that maybe at least I've thought about, you know, hey, would that work in the season? I mean, we have a hotel available to the guys, but we're one of the very few teams that hasn't had anybody test positive. Our guys are so diligent about the process. You know, I mean, the mask wearing here is not. It's not to follow the rules. It's to protect each other. I think there's a big difference in why you do what you do. So I think as of right now, unless something changed, I think we've just kind of continued to stay with what we're doing. But, you know, as you know, as processes change, as situations change, you know, I know we're certainly open to everything.
Hey, Matt, it's Jason Brown with Spectrum News 1 here in Charlotte. Something you said earlier on the call today, you said the veterans showing the rookies how you want things done. But you're a new coach with a new staff. I mean, granted, there are a lot of new players, but there are some holdovers too. You praised, obviously, all the Zoom stuff and how great everything was, but I'm wondering how you want to do things, if that chemistry, if that culture is really getting ingrained now that everyone is in the building.
You know, it's a process, right? Like everyone's learning as they go, you know, hey, this is what's expected here. This is what's expected there. I try to do a good job of being very clear. When I say the vets teaching the young guys, like they can't maybe teach them the way we do things yet because they don't know them, but they can teach the standard of being a pro. There's a difference between being a professional athlete, which means, hey, I get paid, and being a pro. And, you know, like, I come in the morning and I do my little exercise routine, you know, and Shaq Thompson's in there at 6:15 working out, and then he practices. And then I go to leave last night at 8:40, 9 o'clock, whatever it is. And he's still in there getting treatment. That's a pro, right? So my point is to the young guys, you have no excuse not to say, hey, you know, how do I take care of my body? You can see Shaq, you can see Trey, you can see McCaffrey, you can see Russell Okung, you can see these guys that have these great processes that take care of themselves. And so I think just that standard of being a pro is something that, as a coach, what I try to do is find the guys who do it right, and then just keep showing, hey, this is what it looks like. It's this guy's doing it right. And we have a team full of, we have a team with some guys on it that are elite in terms of taking care of themselves. So why wouldn't everyone say, hey, I want to be like him? I want to extend my career. You know, sometimes we think things in life are bad luck. You know, I don't really believe in bad luck. You know, there's maybe a bad break, but I believe in controlling what I can control.
Matt, to that point, you also mentioned that you haven't had any positive tests yet. In terms of controlling what you can control in an uncontrollable situation, how pleased are you with that, and how kind of proud of your guys are you?
Oh, I'm tremendously proud of it because, you know, they get here early to take the test. You know, they do it well. Like, you know, and you know what? Like, I'm a realist. I'm not here to want to say that, hey, there won't be any tests. The whole point, you know, they'll go positive at some point. The whole point has been, hey, when we get a positive test, have we done everything right? And I feel like our guys have done everything right. They're doing everything right. They take it seriously. They space. They wear the contact tracers. They do everything that they're asked to do, and that's all you can really ask. And I think it's a really good process the NFL's developed. I think the Panthers have done a great job with it, and our players and staff have brought it to life by following it.
Matt, without the benefit of having preseason games where you can kind of get all the guys on the roster playing time in a real environment, how do you plan to work that rotation to make sure that some of the younger guys or guys that may not have gotten a look in other practices are getting that shot?
It's gonna be a challenge for every team. I think for me, it comes down to practice. Part of it's how healthy you stay, how much you can go against each other. But we try to do a lot of stuff versus each other so that we can really see, the competition bring it out in everybody. And I, as the head coach, have to have this shared vision with Marty and with the staff. The staff's always going to want to make sure the football's right, but we also want to say, hey, who are the guys who can do it better? Who are the guys with a couple more reps? So we're just trying to always look at everyone on the roster. I think, our commitment to special teams, our commitment to practicing with the rookies earlier, we've gotten to know people at a much higher level than we would have had we not taken those steps.
Matt, what have you thought of your kickers, Joey Sly and then Joseph Charlton, since you've actually been able to see them get on the field so far?
I think they're doing a really good job. Joey's obviously a pro. He's been here. He's a tremendous weapon kicking the ball off, big, powerful leg. I love his process. I love the way he takes notes. I love the way, he really critiques himself. We haven't really done live bullets yet, so it's hard to tell, exactly where he is. But he to me is like everybody else, like every coach, every player. We're just kind of ramping up and building up. And then I think Charlton's, he's got a big, powerful leg, learning how to hold, learning how to do all the other things that he has to do. But really pleased with him. JJ Jansen's, it's great to have a guy like that in that room. Those are two young guys. And I think the thing about Jansen is he's a veteran, he's a pro. He's also a very humble person that wants to help other people. And so I feel good about that room.
Matt, you mentioned earlier this summer how, using Christian McCaffrey, and trying to use him maybe a little bit, different ways, not have him on the field constantly. What have you seen so far with guys like Reggie Bonifant and some of those younger rookie running backs just in 2 weeks with a short sample size?
Well, I really like Mike Davis. He's a pro. He's done it at a high level. He works. He's done a lot of things in this league, and he's doing a lot of good things for us. Reggie's so versatile. Jordan, is a big, powerful runner. Can't wait to see him in pads. So I like that group. We brought in Trenton Cannon, who's one of the best, special teams gunner type players in the league. And so, I think there's a lot of guys in that running back room. It's going to be a great competition over the next 2 weeks, between those guys.
I kind of mentioned this, but I was just curious, are you guys planning on having scrimmages against each other, or is there a plan to kind of have a mock preseason game to just get that practice in there?
Yeah, we'll probably scrimmage just a little bit once or twice. We'll see how our health is as we go. There's some head coaches that are like, hey, they're planned out, every detail of every day. I just always believe in reacting to what we need. And so, right now we're in the phase of still installing, but as we move forward, I plan on getting some live work just to make sure that we're ready for, you don't want to get to the first game and it's the first time you tackle someone. So we'll be smart about it, but I think we'll inject it in there.
Hey Matt, you talked about giving chances to maybe guys further down the depth chart and sort of without the preseason, how you're going to have a sort of a fair look at the full sort of 80 roster. Do you plan to very much train with the ones against the ones, or do you plan to maybe rotate guys in here and there to see how they're able to step up to sort of higher level here?
It's a great question. Yeah, so we'll do a lot of 1 versus 1, 2 versus 2, but within that we'll try to rotate guys, to give guys different opportunities, and then we'll have lots of 1 versus 2, 2 versus 1 periods as well. So I'm a big believer in that competition. I think you have to see guys versus other guys, and we've already cut to 80, so there's already some guys missing off the roster, and you have a couple guys banged up. You're going into practice some days with 75. 73. So I think we'll just mix it between ones and ones and twos. Try to get the young guys a chance to see what they can do versus some vets.
Hey, Matt, now that you've gotten to know some of these guys a little better and vice versa, and I know it's only been a month or whatever, but how would you say connecting and communicating with pros has been different or similar to college kids?
It's way easier. Every guy that's here is here because he's been excellent at what he does. He knows what it takes to be a pro. We're of the same age. I say age. Obviously, I'm 20 years older. Don't get me wrong, but we have, there's just a different, thing. When you're dealing with college kids, it's a wonderful thing. But you're taking them right after they move out of the home, right? They have all different distractions in school and stuff, and so it's a different process. This is, I talk about my kids with guys who have kids. I mean, they love the game. The game treats them well. They want to extend their career. I love the game. The game's treated me well. I want to extend my career. So we're so common. There's so many commonalities between the players and coaches. I just try to always reduce it down to people, just, hey, we're all people. We all have the same hopes, dreams, fears. Keep it about that.
We got time for a couple more, guys. Just one or two more.
Matt, you mentioned matchups and guys going against each other, iron sharpens iron. Have there been any one-on-one battles over the past couple of days that you've seen, or are there specific ones that you're looking forward to that you want to see between two guys?
Yeah, today's the first day we were allowed to do that, and even that was limited. I think that'll move as we go forward. I think we have a lot of good players, a lot of different positions. So I'm just excited to see the competition. I just believe that competition brings out the best in all of us. So, and what I want is healthy competition, right? Like I want a guy to catch a ball on somebody, and then the guy to come back the next play and knock it out. Like that's when you feel good about your team, is when they go back and forth and it's a volley. When it's one-sided, you start to get nervous. But I feel the energy of our team. They're competitive. They like to work. But most importantly, they like to compete. And so I think we'll have a lot of great competitions as we move.
Man, how did reality set in a little last night, realizing you should have been playing Jacksonville, and instead you haven't even put pads on. What was that like?
It hit me how fast that would have been if we had to play Jacksonville, and also, again, it made me appreciate this ramp up and what we're doing. At the same time, it gave me a sense of reality, and I keep telling our coaches, people don't, you kind of get to, you get to know a coach, you see him on TV, you see him, whatever, like we have to, I have a burning sense of urgency, like a burning sense of urgency. And I want our coaches and players to have that as well. Like the games are coming, and you know what? We just have to keep improving. We got to improve through this week, improve through the entire season, and just keep getting better and better and better. And if you go out to practice and we skip a day, man, like it's gonna get us. And so I was really proud of the team today. I thought first competitive practice, it was spirited, it was fast. Like I like coaching those kind of teams.
Hey, Matt, it's Chris from Charlotte.
Last one, Chris. Thank you.
What can you share about that competitive practice day? What did it look like?
Just some good versus good, some 1-on-1, some 7-on-7, just a series of guys going against each other. And again, I thought, just like there's no physicality to it yet, but a volley of, good things for the offense, good things for the defense. But most importantly, when you play football, you want to play hard, but you don't want to play hard because someone told you to play hard. You want to play hard because you think, hey, I can go affect the game. Like I want to run to the ball because I think maybe I could knock it out. I want to run fast because I think maybe I can get open and catch a touchdown. And I felt that from our team today. Like, it's day one. Everyone usually does a great job on day one, but a sense of purpose, like, hey, I'm going to go out and play well. So it's just up to us to keep it going day in and day out, get through the grind of this next 3-week cycle, and then hit the season. The season obviously changes, the whole mindset changes, but right now it's just day by day, tunnel vision.
Okay. Thank you, Coach. Thank you, guys. Everyone have a good rest.
Thank you guys very much.